everybody. What a great day to be with every single one of you. What? What's this? You mean I was supposed to be at Star Wars Celebration today in Anaheim? You mean I had tickets for the Thursday, Anaheim? Now I'm not going to be there? Screw those people. Yes, guys, I bought these 3 years ago. Sickness came, got postponed to a date that I just couldn't make it. So 2 passes. Sad day. I cannot be at the celebration, but in my heart, I'm there. You know, I'm there. But hey, would I rather be at the celebration or standing next to me talking about cryptids with Connor? You can't ask for better than that. It is a great day. Even though I'm sad that I can't be there, but it is a great day. Put this here. All right. Guys, this little secret. Connor doesn't have a coworker today. Shh, he's still at work. So make sure you call his workplace. Make sure you stand outside his door that nobody comes into his store until we're done.
Yeah, I'm training her tomorrow, so hopefully she'll be up in tip-top shape and ready to serve the gaming world. But yeah, today I'm low-key. You know, the boss just left. I figured it'd be nice to pop in, man. It's been a while. I haven't seen you since last night, but I've been missing these afternoon shows, man, and that it helps me get through the shift a lot.
It does happen. You know, on Chad Smith's channel today, they were talking about he couldn't show these girls because there might be a little nudity on them, but he shouldn't be afraid. If you look at my thumbnail, I have a female Chinese Bigfoot with her breasts out. I wasn't afraid to show it. You should too. I'm joking. Yeah, I get him kicked off. Watch. Yeah, they'll probably shut down my show today just because the thumbnail has Chinese Bigfoot with the breast out. Now, guys, you guys know this week I was doing things a little differently. I was just like picking a topic and I was running the whole show off of it. Kind of like Monday was all about cattle, deaths. Tuesday was all about the missing 411s. And today is about cryptids. So it's all about cryptids. Now, when I go into the first one, this is about the Chinese. Let me get the exact title. I got it right here. China's Bigfoot, real. Now, when you watch this, let me get this off. In the description, there's a full 11-minute video of the Chinese Bigfoot. This is only 3 minutes, 25 seconds, and some of it is not in English. So there is English subtitles. So if you're just listening to this, you might want to watch the screen because there's English subtitles with a person from China talking about the Chinese Bigfoot. I try to find some stuff that's really from their country, and some things have subtitles. I know some people don't like subtitles, but I think in this case, it's worth it. It's only 3 minutes, 25 seconds. But I think because we are talking about some Bigfoots here, I will play the Bigfoot intro. Like I said, there's some subtitles here, but it's worth the 3 minutes, 25 seconds. If you like it a lot, it's already in the description. The full 11-minute video is already there if you want to listen to the whole thing, but here's some of it.
它是直立行走，这个样子像人，
Let me get rid of that so you can
嘴
read
巴是凸出去来的，耳朵是竖起来的，
全身都是毛发，就是包括脸面上也有绒毛。
Nearly 8,000 species live in Shenongjia Forest in central China. But there is one that is the most famous. For centuries, locals here have claimed there is a monster living in the forest. Yuan Yuhao heard the stories. He said he didn't believe them until one day in 1981.
这天呢，我呢背着猎狗来着，边考察边打猎。嘿，下课大概走了大概是500米左右，这2只狗子发出一个怪叫，我就赶快上山去。用视野好啊，看到对面开花，这个坡呢，发现一个褐红的直立行走的人形动物，速度相当快，但是它不是跑的。队长下令，愿意好，赶快卧倒。我贴他表示我把子弹推上膛来以后，正在瞄准的时候，好，国军说千万不能开枪，你开了枪，如果是说打的不是野人，如果是人的话，野人没搞到啊，把人打伤了，打死了，怎么办呢？我就没开枪。我是身高1.85米，这个柱子呢，它不止1.85米啊，因为我这个头在柱子里面露不出来呀，它可以露出一个头出来，那么估计最低2.2米。
The locals call it a yeren, or wild man. Stories of its existence can be found in ancient poetry books dating back thousands of years. In the last 4 decades, there have been more than 120 reported sightings. Those who claim to have seen it describe an ape-like creature with facial features that resemble a human. They say it is covered from head to toe with long brownish hair. It also has unusually large feet. Its footprint measures 48 centimeters long. Li Guohua used to work as a lumberjack in Shenongjia. He claims to have had a glimpse of the creature 5 times between 1980 and 2005.
1980年2月28日，我在那里也碰见过野人，在山里找野人，突然走那个山崖下，坐在那儿休息，突然看见听扑扑啷啷的响声，我定睛一看，一个野人正朝我走过来，非常的高大，有2.5米以上，我就拿这个土铳瞄准他。即使我那时也没照相机，即使把他打伤了以后，他跑不动了，我能看一下那个一口枪，那个土铳没打响。结果那个野人就转身就慢慢走掉了，那个雪地上留下很长很长的一个大脚印。
As well as ordinary.
Now, guys, like I said, I have the full 11-minute video in the description if you want to check out the whole 11-minute. And I just thought it's so interesting. You know, we talk about Bigfoots all over the world, but we don't really talk about China having a Bigfoot. I know Connor and I interview a guy from Japan the Hamagon Bigfoot. And there's Bigfoot in China, just like anywhere else. Big, hairy. And I love hearing stories. Now, if you don't mind subtitles, go check out the full 11-minute video. There's a lot there. And if you're really studying the Bigfoot, you shouldn't just study it in America. You should be studying the Bigfoot from all around the world. I'm sure Connor agrees too.
Yeah, definitely. The Yeren is one of my favorite cryptids and mysterious creatures to be talked about. And they have statues over there, and it's worked into their folklore, into their religion, into their everyday life. So I think it's fascinating. And the Yeren, the Yowie, the Hibagan, the Orang Pendek, you know, all of these continents and different countries and civilizations all have mysterious stories. And I love getting to the bottom of it, especially when there's, you know, glimpses of similarities of people that never even spoke to each other before. They are occurring these same weird supernatural phenomenon. And it's awesome to be in the middle of it all.
Yep. And guys, I know I keep saying this about you got to reach for the stars now, because you just never know about tomorrow. I mean, I just learned today on Chad Smith channel that Ray, I'm sorry, his last name, Goodfellas, passed away, 67 years old in his bed. It just, my God, you know, I just watched him on the Hannah series on Amazon Prime. It's just, wow, he has so many years you thought left, and it just kind of tells you, man, you never know. So if you can start something today, start it tomorrow, do it, because you just don't know, you know.
Cherish your time, man. Love like it's your last day.
Yeah, it's man, it's that. Now this next one, a lot of us has already seen it, but since I'm going on the cryptids around the world, this is about the Yowie in Australia, and I know this is some of the footage we all seen before, but just to remember about Bigfoots are everywhere, not just here in America, not just here in Canada. They're in China, they're in Japan, and Australia is famous for the Yowie. So this is one about the Yowie.
Impossible, but this truckie is just pulled up. He's just seen this giant 9-foot creature slide onto the road from this embankment, throw his hands on the truck as the truck stopped. We just got 2 stills of a head peeking around a tree with 2 eyes. It appears that they were, 8 to 9 feet tall, perhaps taller. There is some scope for error there, but they were big. And as he does a U-turn on the road, the lights swing across the dam, and it looks like there's this big termite mound on the side of the road. And as the lights go past it, it stands up on 2 legs. And at the same time, there's this overpowering stench of garbage and rottingness. And I had no idea what had just happened, but it was scary. And as he stepped away from the fire, he's seen something giant, hairy, with glowing eyes staring at him. So he just walks back virtually through the fire. They all see this hairy creature, human-like. They scarper and they look behind them. All they can see are just giant, hairy legs. I'd like to get a selfie with one, but that's not going to happen.
When people say Bigfoot doesn't exist, people actually do say that Bigfoot doesn't exist and all this, but a story about Bigfoot is being told all around the world: Japan, China, Australia, and America. How can somebody who say there's not something there when this story is just not here? It's not originated just here in America. Australia, Japan, China. Every single place on this planet, there's some kind of story about the Bigfoot. And it still blows my mind that there's people out there that don't even want to listen about it, don't even want to hear about it. It's so crazy. I mean, it'd be crazy like Nona Boss has a live show that I go on, and she tells me she doesn't believe in Bigfoot, UFOs, or all that. Why would Nona Boss invite me on? She doesn't believe in none of it, but she does. But you know what I mean, Connor? I mean, people say there's nothing real. It's all wrong. But every culture has a Bigfoot story. What, we all made it up at the same time? I mean, it's
David versus Goliath. Harry and the Hendersons, the Grinch, the Shrek. They've always been some kind of bigger deity in the forest. And then add in the Leviathans and the Titans and dragons and these dinosaurs. It's all very cool. And we're the cavemen in the middle of it. But I think there was bigger Neanderthal men too. Donny Miller, he's in the crowd right now. He had a close encounter with the caveman right here in this county.
Yeah. Somebody go to Donny. Tell him it's not real. Tell him that his fear that he developed of what I'm not going to tell you exactly what happened, because you can go back to one of our shows when we interview him and listen to his whole story. Tell him they're not real. He shit his pants for nothing. Got fear for nothing. That stuck with him. Tell him it's not real. Guys, there's something to it. Now, you want to say it wasn't a Bigfoot? Okay. Well, some kind of monster. Some kind of hairy monster. Now, there's another cryptid. This cryptid is here in America. The famous Mothman. We haven't talked about Mothman in a while, and today's a cryptid show. So here's something about the Mothman.
In southern Ohio and northern West Virginia, the legend of Mothman is as strong as it was 45 years ago. It's become part of the personality of Point Pleasant, where in December of 1967, the Silver Bridge collapsed, killing 46 people. 2 of the dead were never found. But the stories of the creature that came to be known as Mothman began many months earlier.
And this is where all of your Mothman sightings started back in '66, November '66.
Jeff Wamsley gives tours showing people where the legendary...
Guys, listen to that. They're giving tours about the Mothman. There's tours on this. So you're going to tell me there's something not with that story? Well, all these people made it up. Everything's made it up. And they're going to base the town around this, a parade, a tour. Wow, man! I guess we are an idiot country for believing this stuff, on these tours. And I appreciate every single buddy who's on that bus who's taking this tour, because they have the balls to get on there and listen to the story. I appreciate every single one of these. Let's continue.
7-foot-tall, winged man with glowing red eyes the size of baseballs was spotted at least 100 times between November 1966 through December of...
Hear that? Spotted 100 times. Not just that one time, that famous one time, 100 times. Are you going to tell me all 100 are inaccurate? I'm sure some of them are. I'm sure maybe over half of them are inaccurate. But I always told you guys, it only takes one to be real. Only one out of 100 times you need to make it real. Just one.
1967. He also runs a Mothman museum. The first
Mothman
witnesses
Museum.
were 2 couples together at a town gathering spot, the power plant, which sounds like a lover's lane of the late 1960s.
As they got up closer, she said, "What is this guy doing standing in the road?" And she said when the headlights hit it, it turned and looked at him. And she said the wings were like angel's wings above its head, way above its head. And she said that's when the wings came out. And they said, "That's not a man."
They say Mothman chased their car at incredible speeds. The women were said to be hospitalized for shock. The witnesses all described the same thing, a faceless, red-eyed freak who seemed to have a message to tell. But what was this message? Carolyn Marcella runs the local diner. Her sister saw Mothman, but won't do interviews. In fact, most people won't do interviews.
And it flew over top of her, and she looked up, and she said, when I seen them big red eyes, she said, we were out of there. Can't tell you what the rest of it looks like.
A lot of respectable business people, young kids, older people, elderly. But the people that I've talked to, they just said, we were afraid that people would laugh at us and, think that we were crazy. But, they said, we know what we saw, and some of them said that it was a large bird of some sort. Others said it wasn't a bird.
How can any of this be explained? Critics say these sightings are really misidentified planes. Owls are just plain pranks. This is an area of chemical plants and military ammunition storage. It's an industry town on the Ohio River that didn't have the kind of environmental regulations it has today.
Somebody was up here fishing one day, saw this fluorescent green stuff coming out of the water, sort of like Jed Clampett on the Beverly Hillbillies.
Could it have been some type of mutated bird of 50s and 60s sci-fi fear? Or was Mothman really here to warn the river people? Those sightings came to a terrifying climax when that bridge collapsed, killing 46 people and changing the area forever. The collapse was so extreme, it set federal regulations on bridge construction. And those Mothman sightings, they stopped too. You believe it?
I believe they saw something, yeah. I don't doubt their stories one bit. I mean, what it was, I can't tell you, personally what it was. I know that they saw something that was out of the ordinary.
Something those witnesses and the people of Point Pleasant will never forget.
I like what Monster Radio says there. Mothman, extraterrestrial. Why not? There's no, if he's real, there's nothing that says that he's from this world, from this planet. He can be extraterrestrial. We don't know.
Yeah, Ryan said ultra-terrestrial, so even further than an extraterrestrial. So I think that's really cool. And yeah, they were trying to give a warning and maybe some kind of extra power in it. So yeah, I could see it as an ultra terrestrial, but it was always cool being in the Ohio Valley because my grandparents lived right in Bellsville in the Wheeling area. So every time we were on the Ohio River, we were looking up in the air for Mothman and then down in the water for the green clawed beasts or the Indiana muck mermaids.
Now, guys, this next one is another Mothman one, but it's kind of weird. It's called Weird Mothman Guy. And I don't know if it's a joke. I don't know if they're doing this on purpose, but apparently they got this weird black poo that just came down like bird poop, but this is black substance. And they're interviewing this one guy who's talking like he's on the radio. And then he had the Mothman shirt. It's kind of crazy, a little wacko. I thought it was perfect for the show. I thought it was perfect. So, but I can't tell you if this was set up, this is real, or this is fake. It's called the Weird Mothman Guy.
Yeah, new tonight, concerns over mystery gunk falling from the sky. What on earth is it?
7 Action News reporter Aaron Baskerville is live in Harrison Township tonight where people want some answers. Aaron.
Carolyn and Stephen, they certainly want answers. Nobody knows what this stuff is. It's certainly a mystery out here. Residents, like you said, they're angry. They're demanding answers tonight. And just take a look at what they're dealing with out here. Take a look at the driveway. You can see it's coated in this substance. Residents out here, they've called the fire department, the DEQ. They don't believe this is bird droppings. Residents out here just want to know where this all came from. I mean, what's your concern about this substance? That it could be dangerous?
My concern is that this darkened substance could be flowing forth from an even darker source. Much like the frogs in Exodus, this palpable plague of viscous goo could be foretelling of a graven prophecy soon to be fulfilled. I don't know. This is the end, beautiful friend. This is the end, my only friend. The end. Ha 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 ha.
There's a warning from residents behind that laughter in this Harrison Township neighborhood. At least 5 to 7 homes covered in a tar-like substance.
Fairly solid, but it's petroleum-based, and we don't know exactly what it is.
Some at first wondered if it was bird droppings, but the consistency shows otherwise.
And if a bird pooped, how in the heck would it poop like that?
Not quite bird or man, but something more akin to a beast. A soaring serpent who has taken to the airways by many, many names before. The Knights of Templar named him Baphomet. The Zoroastrians called him Asmodeus. But only I have faced the beast Mono a Bird Mono. Only I know his truest title and his most meaningful moniker. For I am Onyx the Fortuitous, Slayer of the Bright Realm, and Hunter of the Mothman.
This neighborhood is close to Selfridge Air Base. Low-flying aircraft is not unusual. They want more investigators to come out here. They also want someone to deal with this mess.
With each mucousy globule splattering on porch and carriage, the quietest message becomes more clear. We are on the eve of the Mothman's return, and in nary but a fortnight his incendiary homecoming will be nigh. His doomsayer's call will echo through the darkened sky, caw-caw, and he will soar on a wingspan greater than my 2 dads laying together head-to-head on a car bed, with talons sharper than Riser's wit, and feathers softer than Evigan's coiffed pomp. In a cryptozoological reckoning he will come, first raining down his Stygian excrement as a warning, but soon loosing his red-eyed judgment out over the land. And in this time of swooping shadows and fading light, a hero must rise to face the beast, but not through earthly might or heavenly prayer, but through love. KTWK is the motto of this man, and when the Mothman is in his sights, with kindness I will kill. And just like Braveheart Lion, I will stand with my Care Bear belly protruding with pride, and I will show them in a stare to end the ages, my crown and heart emblazoned on my ticklish torso as I proclaim in the transcendent words of Bradley Noel, love's what I got, don't start a riot. You'll feel it when the dance gets hot.
And then that expression is just like, what the hell?
I don't know. Mothman's pretty cool.
So for now, the mystery continues. In Harrison Township, Aaron Baskerville, 7 Action News.
Now, guys, this is a real news channel. And actually, beyond that guy, what is that stuff that's falling down from the sky? It's not rain. It's some kind of mildew. Is it from a Mothman? Is that guy really not that crazy? Connor, you ever heard of that guy before?
Yeah, not as the Mothman guy, but he's a comedian and he does those real life skits. But it makes you think it's real because that's as authentic as it gets, But no, man, that guy is incredible. I don't know what the deal is. I don't know if the whole story is real or not.
That's it.
But
I don't know either. I don't know either. It's a real news channel, and I don't know if it's a full skit, if it's real or not. But what the hell? I'd like to get that guy on, talk to him out in open, and see what he really believes.
It's definitely interesting though, and I saw someone. I think it was Oxide Peroxide Swamp, homie. But he said it could be the firmament melting, and Donny and I have talked about times that the firmament has been spotted or ice chunks have came down. So maybe the firmament, but I think the firmament is more like energy and ice and water. But if it's made out of some kind of black, venom symbiote that turns into rubber when it hits our ground, maybe. But it was really funny, and that guy definitely brought a smile to all of our faces. So it would be cool to get him on just for the Mothman shtick. But like we say, any exposure is good exposure, and that guy does great numbers. So the fact that he brought it all together. But I don't know if that was a real news broadcast and then they brought him on, or he edited it all together and it's not even real to begin with. It just makes it really fun. Some people would say that muddies the waters, but they already crap it in them.
Oh, but anything can monitor the water. I mean, it's hey, whatever. Like I said yesterday on last night's show, whatever you thought of the UFO convention, whatever the government, you thought it was a joke, it was fake or not. Some people watched it and they're inspired to research. Somebody might have watched that and say, "Hey, but what is about this Mothman? I want to look into it." If that encouraged 2, 3, 5 people to look into the Mothman, it did its purpose. It did great to me. Now, of course, one of the famous cryptids is the Loch Ness monster, and we are going to talk about the Loch Ness because it is one of the famous cryptid.
Eric, before we hop into Nessie, though, can we? Brown Dwarf asked if we could talk about the Rat King. So can you Google the Rat King? Because I think that phenomenon is so amazing. Because in really bunched up areas, there's an infestation of rats, and their tails, they start to clump together. And their tails, there's a life of their own. So they all get to stuck together, and then you got about 20 rats tied together and working as a single organism. And it's a strange creature, cryptid. But yeah, the Rat King right there. And Brown Dwarf was asking about it, so I don't know if they're getting into his Humboldt Gardens and we have to take care of it, but everybody beware of the Rat King, even if you're Willard.
I mean, here, I click on it. Let me click this picture off, because it opened up another template. Maybe I'll say something about it. Let's see here. Comprehensive history of rat kings. Get these stupid ads off. Close ad. A ball of furry rat king occurs when tails of rodents become twisted, wrapped and warped into a knot. Get that off. Not even the world's most loyal Boy Scout could untangle it. Rat kings have been reported since the mid-1600s. Almost entirely within Germany, and everything about them, from their name to their cause to their very existence, remains suspended mystery. So what? They do this, and then nobody can untangle them, but only they can?
No, they can't even do it. They just have to start working together as one organism then, and it will start running at you. And imagine that. You're fixing something in the attic, and a rat king comes at you, man. Why do you think we got to hire professionals around here?
Oh, wow. Wow, I mean.
And it's definitely like a fun cryptid, but as you just said, it goes back to the 1600s, man. It was a real thing. They had to deal with it over in the plague days.
Wow. Wow, I never even really heard of this, and what is
and most
causing
people imagine rats as, like 4 inches, but you go to New York, Chicago, and Cleveland where they eat very well, they're bigger than small dogs. So imagine 12 small dogs running at you.
And then if you're trying to say, well, some human did it, you can't control rats and keep them one spot. You're trying to, rats go crazy. They go scattered. I mean, so try to get all these tails and tie them together. If somebody could do that, more power to you.
Mixed with them going to the bathroom and that getting all crusty, it really creates like a glue. So once it's done, there is no pulling it apart. It's just hope for the best.
It ties into the occult and bad Germans and so on and so on. Wow. Man, guys, I tell you something. I learn something every day. This is kind of cool. So Brown Dwarf, thank you. I never even know this was going on, and you're reading about it, the 1600s, 1800s, 1900s. Again, is everybody wrong? December 1774, 1822. Wow, look at that. 1822, 1841, 1844, 1870, 1883, 1889. I mean, wow. I mean, that's crazy.
The Rat King reminds me of the hoop snake. The hoop snake will bite its own tail so that it turns into a hoop, like a wheel, and he'll just start rolling really fast at you. And that's how he catches up to you, and then he bites you. So the hoop snake and the Rat King, got to watch out. And they could be in the next abandoned house you explore. So be ready.
No, that's awesome. Thank you, Brown Dwarf. Is this it?
Places in the forest are scorched. Strange tracks are found round about.
It's a story.
Oh, that's not it. That's something else. That's my last video of the day. Did I lose it? Here. I must have accidentally kicked it out.
In the centuries-old search for the elusive Loch Ness monster, a team of New Zealand scientists has turned to DNA, studying 500 million sequences from the length and breadth of the Loch. Their mission, to finally discover what lurks beneath. Today, the world's media descended on the Scottish Highlands to hear their results.
Every single sampling site that we went to pretty much had eels. And the sheer volume of it was a bit of a surprise. Now, is it possible that what people are seeing is a giant eel? Well, maybe.
The myth of Nessie goes back 1,500 years, but the first modern report was in the 1930s.
Loch Ness. Guys, hear what Porny said there? This story was going back since 1,500 years. I mean, this ain't just that one little photo everybody knows. This story goes back way before that. Again, all these cryptids, even the Rat Kings, goes back before we were even born, before our grandparents were even born. So these aren't just folklore stories that would just develop one day in the 50s and the 60s and 70s. These go way back.
In which the eyes of the world are focused. It sparked an industry of Nessie stories, sightings and souvenirs. Steve now dedicates his life to the hunt, watching the water from his lodge every day for the last 28 years. He's unimpressed with the giant eel theory.
I'm not about to give up. This tells me a couple of the things that it's not going to turn out to be. Fair enough. I could have told him some of those answers without him doing all his research.
This skipper says he's had his own run-in with a monster. A blip on his boat's sonar won him the prestigious Nessie Sighting of the Year prize.
I believe that I've seen something strange in the Loch, for sure. On my sonar screen that day 8 years ago was an object 1 metre to 1.5 metres wide. Where could it go? It could dive into the Loch. We've got 200 metres of water here. Caves, little caverns, somewhere for a monster to hide. Totally, yeah.
Nessie's hiding?
Nessie's hiding, yeah.
Keeping the mystery alive is big business for Scotland, and the DNA results didn't put these tourists off the search.
We came to find the monster, and we did. We did.
We've got a sighting here. It might be a giant eel.
I don't think so.
No?
Eels don't have legs.
If she's large and I can see her, what difference does it make? It's what's in your mind.
These DNA results are using modern techniques to try and solve an ancient mystery. But Nessie's not dead in the water just yet. This loch is 24 miles long, well over 200 metres deep, and there are countless caves. So for those who want to believe, there is still room for the legend of this loch to live on. Peter Smith, News at 10, Loch Ness.
And I know this story has been told, you know, millions of times, but a lot of people get freezed up on that one footage and think that's all we have. But that story goes back 1500s ago. I mean, just folklore stories of in that lake. So just don't get hooked up on that one photo. This is not something that's new. This has been way, way even before that. And that's just what I kind of wanted this show to be about today is just don't think these stories just came out the last 20, 30 years. These are hundreds and thousands of years old.
Oh, 100%. I love the Loch Ness story. I feel like that's gotten all of us into the strangeness. Of course, Bigfoot was, you know, big brother, but all of us can, you know, dream and think about Nessie. And then add in just, you know, it goes back more than 600 years. And there's been other credible sightings that they've even seen this thing on land. So it's not an eel. It's not just a fish. There's definitely something to it. And there's a really cool movie called Incident at Loch Ness, Roland Emmerich. It's like a found footage movie. It's a really fun one. And then I just saw that Aleister Crowley had a big mansion overlooking the loch, and they just put it up either for sale or you're able to stay in it now. So if anybody ever makes it to Loch Ness, stay in the Crowley house because the paranormal activity will definitely be abundant.
And then this next one is an American Loch Ness monster goes viral. An American one.
All right, George is already trying to debunk this next story, but I believe back now with that strange thing spotted in Alaska's waters, raising big questions this morning. Could it be, yes, George, could it be an American Loch Ness monster? ABC's Gio Benitez is here. Gio, what do you think?
Prove it, Gio. I agree with you, and I love that music, by the way. Listen, I'm not easily convinced by this stuff, but wait till you really look at this video. Many in Alaska wonder if it's the rumored relative of the Loch Ness monster. So on this Halloween, you decide.
It's the 15-foot mystery moving slowly and methodically through Alaska's freezing water, garnering almost 500,000 views on Alaska's Bureau of Land Management website. Locals asking if this is Alaska's own version of the Loch Ness monster, the much talked about China Chomper. One visitor to the site believes China is back, writing, "The China Chomper, it's back. It was like our own Bigfoot." Another finding the Halloween sighting spookily timed, speculating it could be zombie salmon. That's what I thought. Whether it's really a frozen rope, as one biologist suggests, a very cold fish, or a real-life monster, the people of Alaska finding solace in the words of some Loch Ness locals this morning.
And you may be wondering, what did that local tell us? Well, he said, "I believe there are strange beasts. I know they exist, and that's good enough for me." Now, before you get too scared, know that some of the employees there at the Bureau of Land Management admit to doctoring the video a bit, adding some music, adjusting the speed, and they say they did not.
Music and speed, that doesn't change what we saw.
I know. They say they did not add that
George,
monster.
tell them
They
what
said-
you
know, they're.
I think it is.
The speed doesn't change what we saw? Changes it a lot. It changes it. It's a bunch of buoys going through.
A bunch of buoys?
Buoys?
No, that was natural. Look at
Now, I'm not bashing those people that's on that panel, but if they base a lot of things on sound and all that, even in the first place, then they don't deserve to be on any panels to have any comments. Listen, we all know common sense is take the music is fun, but you take away the music, you look at the footage itself. Is the footage itself been changed, been CGI? That's the main question. It doesn't matter if they sped it up or not, because whatever that is floating in the water. Doesn't matter if it's 2 miles per hour, 100 miles per hour. The main thing is, what is that in the water? So when you think of Loch Ness, I'm just showing this because there's a lot of things in the water we just don't know about. That's Alaska Ocean. We don't know what's in the bottom of those oceans. We haven't, 70% of the world is covered by water. We don't know what's everything in the water. And I said this before, there's over 2,000 species a year that's being found. You know, who knows what that is? I mean, what do you think, Connor? What is that?
I love that footage. I think it's interesting. It's either a huge sea monster, like eel type, plesiosaur type creature, or some large sturgeon, but I can guarantee it's not a buoy like the panel said. So again, yeah, the mainstream media is just to make some jokes, and it's basically just an arm extension of these weak corporations that have no, touch with society or actually the people of the country. So yeah, man, they're trying to make jokes and everything, but I think it's awesome footage, and there are so many cool sea creatures here in America.
Yeah.
But then add in all the caves and the aquifer and everything that adds in below. It's an amazing situation.
Yeah, right there. Spooky wrote, we only tracked 5% of the ocean floors. Guys, that means 95% of something that 70% covers the whole world. We haven't even scratched the surface. You know, there's that movie, Metadon, whatever it's called. Now, The Meg. I thought the movie needed more of a bloodbath. I wanted a bloodbath. I didn't get it. But the theory behind it, we don't know what's in those major parts of the oceans. And what if we do go explore and let something out? It's not far stretch as you think it is. Now,
100%, man.
Now, this one is pretty cool. This one I think you guys might enjoy. This is Aussies, of course, Australia, tell a frightening big cat encounter. A story about, is this a cat that's doing this? Is it what? So I thought it's interesting enough. It's not really considered a cryptid what I'm showing you, but I thought it was pretty cool. Here we go.
It could be a big feral cat. She was convinced the animal had been attacked by a cat. But it would have to be a Catzilla type feral. The story of...
I thought Connor might like that when I heard Catzilla. I was thinking, I'm going to play this, even though it's not technically considering it a cryptid, but Zillafoot, Catzilla,
Void Cat.
I thought this is a good connection for Connor. So I apologize for pausing it, but I had to make that comment.
Black panthers secretly roaming the Australian bushland is a complex legend that borders on conspiracy theory. But dozens of Aussies swear they've seen panthers, pumas or lynxes on empty highways, sand dunes, in paddocks or roaming in the bush. Even well-known Aussie presenter Grant Denyer told us he saw a sheep-sized big cat on his property in Bathurst.
I know what I saw. I've heard the urban myths for decades, but I saw it with my own two eyes.
Denyer was so convinced he installed infrared motion detecting night cameras on his property and is waiting for them to catch evidence of the beasts. In 2019, a woman shared a photo with news.com.au showing a horrifically maimed kangaroo carcass which had its head ripped from its body. She was convinced the animal had been attacked by a cat. Another woman, Kerry Harvey, shared a video with news.com.au of a tree in a remote part of her property in the central West Riverine floodplain of New South Wales. The tree had mysterious, deep scratches right up and down the trunk. Another source who wanted to remain anonymous told news.com.au how they made an unusual sighting after setting up camera traps while camping in the East Gippsland area of Victoria. One of the most compelling sightings in recent history is a large black panther spotted walking in a grassy area in Wahroonga on Sydney's North Shore. The panther was filmed by student Alec McDonald and is a rare example of crystal clear footage of a suspected panther caught in broad daylight. An animal tracker and survival teacher, Jake Cassar, told news.com.au he met with Mr. McDonald and found him very trustworthy. Mr. Cassar also claimed he found a paw print in the area. He said it could be a big feral cat, but it would have to be a Catzilla type feral. However, researcher Emma Spencer from the University of Sydney told news.com.au feral cats are doing exceptionally well and can flourish in pretty much every Australian environment. She said ferals can be up to 7 kilos. It came as she released this shocking photo of a massive feral in the Simpson Desert, which was feasting on a goanna. Many reputable sources have reported over the years that former circus owners have confessed to losing big cats. Vaughan King, a former keeper of big cats at Australia's Zoo, told the Newcastle Herald a circus owner had admitted losing a wide array of animals, including black leopards. So keep those cameras on and keep looking.
I want to mention that, where is it? I just had it up. Where I thought it was in the chat. Oh, right here. Now that the last video our friend wrote could be a huge dead tree that has broke away from the ice and ice still attached. I mean, that's possible. I mean, you know, we can never say anything at 100%. It could be in the most easiest explanation in the world. You know, you do gotta keep your mind open to a possibility that it is a good reason. You know, even though we want it to be real. I mean, I want it to be a creature. I really do. But if it turns out to be a tree, okay. It turned out to be a tree. I'll move on to the next one. But going back to that cat, I don't know. Zoo people losing that could be true, or that could be a cover-up. We don't know. But I kind of like that story. I thought that was pretty cool.
Definitely. I think there are big cats pretty much in every state of America, and they have been in the United Kingdom and, of course, Australia as well. I definitely think that, you know, they escape from circuses and exotic cat, you know, preserves, but I think there is a natural population. And I just wanted to show the artwork for the Void Cat 2, Void Cat Patriot. I'm really excited about the sequel. Terror's domestic. Wow, better watch out. But this is going to get really crazy, and I'm coming back for that one, hopefully. So we'll see.
Chris could be right. Exotic pet owners let's go all the time, and that's true. That's true. Listen, guys, I live in an area where we're surrounded by rabbits because a house was raising rabbits, show rabbits, and decided they have to move, and they let it go, and they just exploded with babies. So when we see rabbits around here, they kind of look like show rabbits. I mean, these are like top-end rabbits. To the point, my neighbor takes care of some of these rabbits, and when they went on vacation, they actually paid my daughter to go across the street and feed 3-4 of their rabbits because they couldn't take them to their vacation because these rabbits got hurt and they took care of them. So people let animals go all the time. Now, this next one is history of a legend, Mrs. Leeds and the Jersey Devil. Yes, we're going there. We're going with the Jersey Devil. I know a lot of you know the story about the Jersey Devil, but maybe some of you in the chat don't know the whole story about the Jersey Devil. Maybe this will help some of you, or maybe not. Or it's blowing smoke up our asses. Who knows? Who cares?
Places in the forest are scorched. Strange tracks are found round about.
It's a story Angus Kress-Gillespie, a professor in Rutgers American Studies Department, has told hundreds of times. The legend of Mrs. Leeds, her family in the Pine Barrens, and the Jersey Devil. It's said that in 1735, Mother Leeds was pregnant with her 13th child. Her husband Daniel, though a good provider, was an uninvolved father.
You hear that number? 13th child, number 13.
So the entire burden of taking care of the kids fell on Jane Leeds. The cooking, the cleaning, chopping wood.
She couldn't handle another addition.
In a moment of perhaps understandable weakness, she said, I hope this one's not a child. Let this one be a devil.
When the baby arrived, everything seemed normal, at first.
But then something went terribly wrong. In the space of less than 20 minutes, the baby grew to the size of 2 full-grown men.
He developed coal-red eyes and a horse's head, bat wings, goat feet, and serpentine tail.
And then unexpectedly, with one swipe of his right arm, he slit the throat of the midwife in attendance.
Leaving carnage in his wake, the Jersey Devil flew up the chimney and escaped into the Pine Barrens, where he's said to have terrorized the people ever since.
Most states, there's a state horse, a state bird, a state flower. As far as I know, New Jersey is unique to have a state monster.
Gillespie is a folklorist, and he's quick to explain that the Jersey Devil isn't a once-upon-a-time kind of tale. It's a legend.
Folktale implies that it's fiction.
Do you think it's true?
I try to keep an open mind.
There was a rash of sightings in 1909. And in the oral tradition of folklore, Gillespie's been given first-hand accounts by people who say they've seen the monster or know someone who has. But he says, as a folklorist, it's his job to remain agnostic.
When I see reports of sightings, my initial gut reaction would be skeptical. I mean, is this photoshopped? How reliable is the witness?
The latest sighting was just 2 weeks ago.
I mean, the legend is very much alive, and these sightings sort of prove that.
So as Gillespie tells it,
when you're walking through the pine barrens of South Jersey, listen carefully as the wind comes off the ocean through the pines. Old mother leads.
And if you hear a twig crack behind you, beware. It could be you know who. For NJTV News, I'm Maddie Orton.
Well, I hope some of you guys, if you haven't really heard the origin of the Jersey Devil, I hope you guys enjoyed that little video. You kind of got the origin of the Jersey Devil, and you got a professor who says you know, got to keep an open mind, but he was also skeptic of Photoshop, like everything you should be. Everything I wanted to hear from a professor, I wish I could hear that with a lot of scientists, a lot of people that, you know, you still got to keep an open mind. Not everything can be solved with doing a DNA or doing a blood test or doing science, doing a rock, checking the ground. You know, sometimes you just got to believe. But it's interesting that the devil came from a 13th child. I'm not saying the number 13 is magical, but some people believe it is. And it is interesting in my opinion.
Yeah, it's one of the more fascinating cryptids, and all of us have heard about it. You know, NHL, New Jersey Devils, and all of us have seen the goofy picture of like the half horse dragon thing flying in the air. But it's super cool, and I love that there's actually like a historical encounter story that comes from a human being. It's one of my favorite stories for sure.
Yeah, and he was teaching that in his college class. You know, I mean, so is that folklore all a bunch of lies being taught in class? Professors, are they all just wasting their time? Guys, there's these stories that, you know, they start from somewhere. There's an origin of everything, and got to keep your eyes open. Got to keep your eyes. You got to keep your minds open. All right, guys. So this last part of the show, it's going to be horror talk to a point where I'm going to give a recommendation for a movie to watch over the weekend, and then Connor can give his recommendation of a movie to watch over the weekend, and then we'll end the show. So let me just find my little intro that I used to do on the other channel. I'm going to give you my recommendation if you guys care for my recommendation. I know this is a 1984 movie, but I'm going to share the screen. It's not really, there's somewhat horror in it. I'm going to share Repo Man. If you haven't seen the 1984 Emilio Estevez, it's an awesome movie where he's like a punk. He gets a job with the repo. They're all after this one car. But the thing is about this car, what is in the trunk of this car? Dead aliens. So if you like a little sci-fi, you like a little Emilio Estevez, it's a great movie. It is 1984. It's directed by Alex Cox, who makes all these weird, trippy movies. It is an older movie, but dead aliens in a car. You can't beat it. And I love the ending of this movie. So if you got a recommendation for me, you should watch Repo Man. So Connor, if you give a recommendation to somebody out there, what should they watch tonight?
I think they should watch Love, Death, and Robots. There's season 3 just came out, and there's more than 30 episodes. Some episodes are 6 minutes long, some are 11, some are 25. And they mess with the order of the episodes to make it a different experience for you. But one of the newest episodes, it has like a singer, like a Nephilim woman, but it's definitely magical. And Love, Death, Robots. And every episode has its own style. David Fincher is one of the creators of it. It's revolutionary, and there's so many cool animation styles, and some are like photo real, some are super trippy. That one right there, though, the De Gero with the girl with all the shining stuff. It's very connected to the Nephilim and giants, and there's alien shark episodes. It's really cool. I definitely recommend it. Love, Death, and Robots.
So guys, there you go. And when I come back tomorrow, I'll do another recommendation. So these are some of it. And later on, in about an hour, our good friend Anthony, who's on our channel last night on a live show. If you guys haven't watched it, you haven't seen it, go watch last night's show. It was kick-ass. Anthony's going on the Butt Stuff channel. I've been on their channel twice. Connor was on their channel. They're fun. They're great. They're awesome. If you just want to relax today, have a fun time, put your feet up, get some popcorn, that's going to be a great show. And beyond that, guys, I want to thank every single one of you for being here. I'll be back tomorrow. Probably 10:30 if I have it ready. You know, if it's not 10:30, then it's 12. So just make sure you're subscribed to my channel, thumbs up, leave comments, and put that bell on. And if some of you have said you haven't heard the bell, sometimes this works, but not always, but sometimes it works. Unsubscribe and resubscribe. Sometimes that'll reset it where the bell will come on and all that. And then, Connor, what do you got going on this weekend if you want people to know about?
I don't think I have any shows, but just keep posted. I'm gonna premiere a video. But guys, you know, the premieres on my end kind of been a little weak recently. I'd love some people there. Like, come on. I don't know what else to say. Be there.
And if you're not getting his bell, unsubscribe, resubscribe. Sometimes that works. It's not guaranteed, but sometimes it works. YouTube's a little weird sometimes. If they think you have a double account, which some people do have 2-3 accounts, when they think you got a double account to the same account you're watching, it turns off a lot of the bells. Don't know why. You know, I wish maybe they could set up where you could tell them that this is my Premiere account or something. I don't know. I'm not behind that, but that's part of the reason. But beyond that, guys, we'll see you tomorrow on the Paranormal Highway.